Today, what we're going to talk about is just we're going to do a rough overview of the lockdown. It ended, coronavirus in Ukraine, and then what the current restrictions are with that. So, what we do know is that the lockdown, as we speak, will be ending at midnight tonight in Ukrainian time. The direct Deputy Minister of Health, his name is Victor Lyshko, said they don't expect to do any further strict measures in the future. That's also good news, considering tomorrow is President Zelensky's birthday, and he's having a big birthday party. So yeah, I don't expect anything to be renewed before that gets over. Anyway, and how I know that is it's on the news. And then secondly, Joe is actually taking someone to the airport right now who will be attending President Zelensky's birthday party or birthday bash, as it were. So that's kind of where we stand as far as what we know that the lockdown will be over. So the next thing I'm going to show for you is a map of the coronavirus, where it is as far as in the areas and how many cases in each oblast. Right now, currently, they have had 535,857 cases and 9,603 deaths. So anyway, that's kind of the overview of where the coronavirus is there in Ukraine. So now you may ask, well, is it a good time to travel to Ukraine? You know, yes, it is. It's fine. You can do things, but there are plenty of restrictions that you need to be aware of, and we're going to cover those there for you. So let me actually get to those. If my mouse would work. One thing to keep in mind, if you do come to Ukraine, you will have to have a test for it. 3 days either before you come to Ukraine or at the airport. In most of the major airports, they do have the tests available there for around $50 to $60, and then they email you the results within 12 hours. So if you don't take a test, you're able to get one in the airport. Now, as far as the lockdown news, as far as what is open and what you do, one thing also to keep in mind is people that are foreign have to have insurance when coming to Ukraine. So if something happens and you need to be hospitalized, you have to have insurance to cover that, and you have to show that. So what's open? What's going on in Ukraine right now? Museums, exhibitions, galleries are limited to no more than one person to tour for 10 square meters. Restaurants are closed from 11 p.m. till 7 a.m. except for delivery and takeout. So you can go to restaurants; they'll be open. They'll be more than happy to fix some food for you. Cinemas, cultural establishments, and museums, they're going to be limited to 50% in each hall or area of each museum. While you go to restaurants, no more than 4 people are going to be allowed at a table, and there must be a distance of 2 meters between the tables. So roughly, again, a little over 6 feet in that area. If you look at the not the metric way of doing it, but the the dumb American way of measuring. Um, no operation of accommodation establishments except hotels and rehab centers. Nightclubs are closed. So if you do want to take part in some of the Ukrainian nightlife, now is probably not uh, uh, the time to go. I do have a question. Um, Can you tell me, is COVID bad in the Volyn region? Concerned about a lady friend who lives in Lutsk. Well, if you look on the map, I'll put that up again. You can see where that is, and I will get that up here as soon as I can. Looks like I closed it. There's the map, what shows the amount of people in each region that have tested positive. So hopefully that is helpful. I don't know exactly where Lesk is, but anyway, hopefully you can see this map and see what the outbreak is in that area. So I'll leave that up for a little bit as I keep going through the restrictions and that kind of thing. So also in Ukraine, public transportation is limited to seated passengers, and so except for metro, you have to have a seat on a bus. So please keep that in mind. Indoor religious events can have no more than one person for every 5 square meters, and then 1.5 meters for outdoor. So gyms, I know this is gonna help my fiance. I know she's excited to get to the gym, and those will be opened up as well. So let's get back to the list. If there are any other questions out there. Gyms and fitness centers are going to be open, but they do have the requirement of one person per square meters. There are going to be no visitors to social protected centers, so be like rest homes, things like that. That will happen. So I'm going to try also getting some headphones on. So I guess I'm having some audio issues. So hopefully we won't have those. Anyway, classes in schools are limited to 20 and schools will not be opening totally full up. They'll still be doing some sort of teaching from the computers. So what's open, what's allowed? Again, 50% in cinemas, museums, exhibits, galleries, person per square meters. Restaurants, again, are open till 11 o'clock. Payments must be taken by 10 o'clock, which is a different rule I had not seen. They will be closed till 7 a.m. Except for takeout. So if you need them after that, after 11, you can do takeout and get you the food you want. Gyms, fitness centers are open, one person per 20 square meters. No visitors in their protected areas or homes. So that those would be like rest homes, group homes, homes with what we call assisted living homes here. So let's go ahead and go on. Classes in school, again, 20 people, except for preschools and general secondary schools. Extracurricular and specialized arts schools are exempt from this. So instruction in place in preschools, secondary schools are canceled if more than 20% of the students are self-isolating, which doesn't seem to be the case. I know around Kiev, everything seems to be fine. There are new testing requirements for people travel back to the United States. And it's something I wanted to cover because these came out from the CDC on Friday and they go into effect tomorrow. So effective January 26th, well, I guess that's Tuesday, 2021, all air traffic passengers 2 years and older departing from any country with a destination to the United States must provide the following. Pre-boarding proof of a negative results of the COVID test performed within 72 hours and the attestation of to the veracity of the test, or a written electronic documentation of recovery of COVID-19 in the preceding days. So you have to have proof that you took a test, a viral test, or you have to have proof that you've been in doctor's care and recovered in the past 90 days. That also needs to have a written statement from a healthcare official stating that you are cleared for travel and you have recovered from the COVID disease or virus. This applies to all travelers, U.S. citizens, lawful aliens, anyone coming into the United States have to have this documentation. The only exceptions will be for the airport personnel. So please make sure if you come to Ukraine that you are aware of this and are able to get a test while you're over there right before you come back. There's different areas to be able to get the test. I tried to follow up online, but I didn't get an email back from the American Center. That's pretty much where I was told to go if I had any problems, health issues. They do have a full lab. They will be doing testing. So if I was a person going over there, I would make sure I would run by there, call there. They do speak English. They have an email address. Talk to them about making sure you get your test to come back in, so they'll let you board the plane. It will accept military people, exempt military people if they're traveling. Well, that was one exemption. You have to, if you have any questions, you can look at the CDC website, which is the Center of Disease Control, and they will have this updated as need be. The mandatory medical insurance, which is something that is required when you visit Ukraine. Foreigners coming must have that covers all COVID-19 related treatment and observation during their stay. So, the policy must be issued by an insurance company registered in Ukraine or a foreign insurance company with representative office in Ukraine, or an actual contractual relationship partner insurance in Ukraine. So make sure that you have that. You're saying, well, I don't know where do I get it? Well, I'm going to show you. If you go to visit Ukraine.today, you can find policies there that will cover you for your small trip. It is one of those things that you know, I know some people think, oh, it's too much problem, too much red tape, all that. It's not that big of a deal. You go on, you pick a policy, you have it cover it for you for your 2-week trip, and you're able to do it. It can be very inexpensive, so it's one of those things that is just something to add to your checklist before you come to Ukraine and before you leave to Ukraine. So again, before you travel, you must get a viral test. It can't be any other kind for 1 to 3 days before your trip. If you're waiting for a test result, they will not let you on the plane. So you have to make sure you have that done, or follow the entry requirements for where you're going. And again, Ukraine, you can get an actual test in the airport when you arrive. Other countries aren't so easy with that, but in Ukraine, they will ask you for your insurance information. So during your travel, wear a mask, stay 6 feet or 2 meters away from people. When you are, use hand sanitizer, and watch for your signs of illness. Again, always check your airline recommendations and requirements, and make sure that you're following those. Right here. What happened to the previous host, the lady who had cancer? Is she doing okay? As I mentioned before, Joe is actually taking someone to the airport right now, so they can attend President Zelensky's birthday party tomorrow. So anyway, that's where he's at, and that's why I'm pinch-hitting for him today. So anyway, that's the deal. So he asked me to share on what's kind of going on in Ukraine from the health perspective. So if you do not get a test while you're entering Ukraine, one thing that they will ask you is to self-isolate for 14 days. Well, for most of us, our trips to Ukraine are only 14 days, so you have to get that test in the airport or have one right before you come to Ukraine. So please make sure you have that available. So is there any other questions I can answer about coming to Ukraine with the current health situation? Again, you're able to come to restaurants, you're able to go to the cultural items, you're able to go to the different churches, you're able to go to pretty much anywhere. They are all open right now. So it's not an issue like last week, where I know there were some visitors there that took their dates for long walks because nothing was open, and it was kind of inconvenient that way. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on there. I have a question about the healthcare system. It's a private, they have both private and public healthcare systems. So if you want to know more about that, where someone like a foreigner would go, there's a couple of different places to go. I've always been told the American Center in Kiev is the best place. They take a lot of foreign insurance, so that's the place. If something were to happen, I know I would most likely go. There are other clinics. The Boris Center is another one I know that is available. But I know the American Center, they speak good English. They actually have American doctors there, and as well as Ukrainian doctors. So you'll be well taken care of and someone to speak your language there. They're a full like immediate care. They have labs. They have everything right there. So if you need something, they can take care of it and help you kind of navigate the everything in English. Another question: there um, are there clinics in that cater to foreigners? Yes. Hopefully, I just answered that. The American Clinic in Kiev is one of those that does it. There are a couple others. If you look on the U.S. Embassy website, they are able to direct you, and they have some doctors that they have more or less seen or have that are able to treat people from the United States as well. What's the best insurance company for foreigners? I don't want to be mercy of socialized medicine hospital. Yes, correct. Again, go to Visit Ukraine today, and you can go on that website and buy an insurance policy there. If you go on the American Center in Kiev, they have a lot of foreign policies that we have even in the United States that are multinational that they accept there as well. So when you're there, yes, you do want to go to somewhere where it's a private clinic setting versus the socialized clinic. I've met several doctors. They seem great and all that, but as far as for your care, you're making sure you know what's going on as far as being able to communicate in the language, that kind of thing. A private clinic is usually a better alternative. The American clinic, which are throughout Eastern Europe, is probably the best system there. You know, I have no connection to them, but I know that's where if I needed some shots or things like that, or needed medical care in Ukraine, that's where most people who have visited there told me to go. So, is there any other questions out there that that you'd like to be answered? So, while I'm talking about this, what can you do while you're in Ukraine? At night, again, restaurants are open. So if you go to Ukraine, have a date, restaurants are going to be the best place to go. There are museums, things that are open, so you can go see those. There's the Motherland statue will be open. A lot of the Parshka Lavra, I can't remember how to exactly say it. They will be open. The difference is the amount of people being allowed in there at one time. So what you'll probably find is longer lines, or there might not be many lines because people aren't traveling as much to Ukraine. One of the different things I saw was how this is really affecting Ukraine's overall GDP. It's gone down something like 3% this year as a rule, you know, not being able to have tourism, not being able to work certain areas. So this is having a negative impact, of course, on their economy, much like it's having an impact everywhere else here in the United States, Canada, everywhere. So anyway, that's what you can kind of what's going on. Is the corruption still a big problem there? Or is our embassy effective at offering help if there's an issue with police and stuff? Yes, I'll talk a little bit about the embassy right now. The U.S. Embassy is open, normal hours. They do not have a lot of staff to do certain things. Only thing they are taking care of is pretty much what they consider emergency and mission critical items. So if you would have a problem with the police, something like that, yes, they would be able to help you. They're open during the daytime. They are not open for if an American just wanted to go in there and visit. You have to have an appointment to actually go in there. So it's not something you can just walk up and go in and say, hello, I'm an American citizen. I just wanted to see the embassy, yada, yada, yada. You have to have an appointment to go in. They are under some kind of staff limitations as far as how many people are working and what kind of work they're actually performing right now. So, but again, if you do have a problem, they are there to help you. They are there during their normal business hours. So if you do have a problem, you're able to get help. Another question Edward had, are there Ubers in Ukraine? Yes, in the large cities, Kiev and in Odessa, and I know there's Ubers. When I was there, I used Uber to travel throughout pretty much everywhere I went. It was cheap, it was inexpensive. You know, I know I sent my future mother-in-law to the airport last night, and that was a 20-minute ride, and it was $7. And so it's very inexpensive. For me, when I would send dates home, I would call an Uber Black and put them in a little bit nicer of a vehicle and send them on their way, because Ubers are pretty much anything and everything in Ukraine. So if you don't order something a little bit bigger and nicer, you're going to get a little Ford Fiesta, or you're going to get a Skoda, or any of these other little small subcompacts. So if you want to send someone home, or you want to be in a little bit more comfort, an Uber Black is the way to go. It's not that much more. The exchange rate, when I saw it last week, was, I want to say, 27 to 1. So the American dollar does go well and goes a long ways over there. Also, if you are traveling over there, take American dollars, don't switch them to euros, and then transfer the euros. The dollars, you'll get a better exchange rate than will in with a euro. Another question from Edward, can you drive in Ukraine? Not unless you have an international license. Unlike other places, the United States license is not accepted there. So you have to take Uber, have to take cabs, things like that. Uber's the best way. A cab ride, there's plenty of cabs that'll be there fighting for your business when you get off an airport, get out of the airport, or walking out from immigration control, and they will charge 2 to 3 times of what an Uber is. What they also do is try to direct you to someone there at the airport, or one of their friends, to exchange your money, and you will get ripped off on that exchange rate. So it's better to use your credit card for Uber, get on Uber, have someone there to pick you up, or if you're using our agency, we offer complimentary trips. So there'll be someone there with a little nameplate that will have your name on it, and we'll pick you up and take you back to the airport. But if you're just going there, maybe your second or third trip, and you're you're seeing your significant other, then Uber is the way to go. It's best if you can make sure that happens. Make sure you know where you're meeting them. Have your fiance maybe help you or that. Next question. Let's see. Has the lockdown totally finished? And it will be introduced again. No, they don't foresee it. As I had a statement from the health minister, as I started this, they are not planning on extending it. The lockdown is they don't see any type of shutdowns again. So taking their word for it, I don't expect it to happen. So anyway, that's the best thing I can tell you. What's another one? Sterling to ghrivna. When I was there, I did not see anything from as far as exchange rate to the sterling. I saw euros, I saw American dollar, and I saw rubles, where it seemed to be the three that were most commonly exchanged, at least in the areas where they have the little boards. The reader boards will tell you the exchange rate on a daily basis. I'm sure some banks are willing to do that, but I don't know what kind of exchange rate you'll get on the sterling. For you, you probably have a lot easier access to the euro than someone in the United States would. So I would suggest using euros if you're going to go to Ukraine and do your transfer with the euros. Anyone from the North America, the American dollar is the way to go. You'll get the best exchange rate for that. So another one, someone told me to use a credit card. Do they accept credit cards? Yes, they do. You will get hit with most cards with a transaction fee if you use them, unless you have a world card. Several big banks will offer a world card, which is good. You can travel anywhere and they won't hit you with all these little transfer fees for transferring the money from the dollar. Those add up, and it really you'll just keep seeing these little charges on your credit card. So that's what that is. Credit cards are accepted if you're using it for a larger item. You must have a PIN to go along with that. So if you're trying to buy, say, an engagement ring or a cell phone, like an Apple iPhone or something like that with some significant value, you will have to use a card with a PIN versus using just a credit card. They will not accept it without the PIN because of the amount of fraud that's involved. So anyway, that's kind of answers that. Where's the match guarantee office located in Ukraine? It's right off of Independence Square, or Maidan Square. Yes, if you find the McDonald's there, you just go up, and it's on I want to say the 5th or 6th floor, something like that. But usually someone will meet you down right out the front door and take you up and show you where the office is. And that's where you'll meet the majority of your dates, is right there in the office, so that you do a proper introduction, and then you're off. So if you have any other questions, feel free to ask away. Let's see. What else can I tell you about right now? Again, if you're planning on going You will need to, if your lady doesn't speak English, make sure you have reservations for 3, so your translator has a place to sit, especially when they're trying to space out the chairs as best you can. So if you're looking for a place, you're going to make reservations, make sure you know for sure if you're going to have an interpreter or not. So usually you'll know that ahead of the time, but if not, it's better to just make sure that you're aware of that. The interpreters do an excellent job. They're great ladies. They really help you out. Uh, let's see what's some other ones here. Did you ever meet a date in the office? She looked nothing like her profile. No. I can say they look like their profile. Maybe it depends on the lady. Some ladies have professional photos with professional makeup done. They may not have the professional makeup done, but you can definitely tell it's the same lady and same person in their profile. They don't look totally different. They look the same. I'll tell you, when I was, I don't think Anna will care if I tell you this, but my trip there, I was nervous. I was meeting my, what ended up being my fiance, and Anna was working, Joe's wife was working as my translator that day, and she comes into the office and she starts interacting with me and talking with me, and I think that's my date, and I'm like, she looks nothing like the picture. But then my fiance shows up, and I was like, whew, okay. And then I found out that Anna was the translator. So yes, the ladies look like their pictures. That's something that we pride ourselves on. Especially when you look at a lot of the photos that you can tell they're real life photos versus something that's in a taken professionally. Some of the ladies have professional photos taken, again, but it's not something where you show up and it's a totally different lady or a totally different person. It's obviously the same person. Let's see. What else? Average cost to move and live there. I would not have any idea on that. Joe would. So next time he's on a live stream, that would be a good question to ask him. Let's see if what's another question? I want to check out a woman I met online. Do you do that? If they're through the Match Guarantee website, yes, we do. If they're just from another website, we really don't help with that. We used to run a scammer service, but most of the ladies did not show up on that, even if they were scammers. So it's something that's real difficult to detect. I know Joe's going to be showing everyone how to do a check on his scam hack video coming up. So make sure you subscribe and you see that coming, and then they'll be able to help you out with that and might answer a lot of your questions. Okay, I guess Edward here, send your check request for the lady to info@Match Guarantee, and we'll be able to help you out with that. That includes as much information as you have on her, her photos, and we'll be able to run that check on her and see if she shows up or not. But anyway, I just wanted to make sure that is available. But before, I know we've had some problems with a lot of scammers showing up. you know, it might be a lady, it might be a lady's name that they've taken off Facebook, that kind of thing. And so the person is legitimate, but their pictures and name are being used by a scamming site. What else? How long do I have to quarantine for? It's 14 days, Mark. If you're going to go over there, if you're going to go, you can buy a test in the airport there in Kiev or Odessa or Kharkiv, the major airports. And with that test, they're supposed to get you the result within 12 hours. So if you take it there in the airport, you won't technically have to quarantine that long. By the time you get to your motel, you sleep the next day, you'll most likely have the result of positive or negative. If you're positive, that information is sent to the health authority over there. So you will have to go into treatment or isolation at that point. In Ukraine, they also offer a website app, which I wouldn't recommend after reading about it, but pretty much it tracks your location if you are there, to make sure that you are in quarantine for the required number of days. That is also available, but again, most of us people that are coming over to visit, we don't have time to quarantine for 14 days. So the $50 to $60 test at the airport is fine, or doing a test 3 days before you go on your flight is also acceptable. I would suggest 2 days because as you get to Ukraine, it's most likely going to be the next day anyway. You want to be in that 3-day window of the test, so they'll accept it. You don't want to see, well, it's been 3 days since when I started my travel. Be the 3 days from when you enter Ukraine. So please make that computation with you so you know what time and which date you're entering Ukraine, so you're within that 3-day window. So don't get where you have to pay for a second test within your 3 days because you miss it by a day because of the time change. So please make sure that's you're able to do that. Let's see. How does quarantine work? Does someone stand guard at my hotel room? No, but they will ask you to add an app to your phone which tracks you and lets the police know. If you read up on the app, if you go outside, I want to say it's like 100 meter of your motel room. So will they stand guard? No, but if you try to go for a walk away from that, you'll probably get contacted by the police. So again, it's taken pretty serious there. You're required in any closed environment to wear a mask over there. Yeah, so have your mask. Don't think you can just go without. They will not give you masks over there. So make sure you have your mask, take it with you. So, any American jobs there if I leave my occupation there? Yes, there are jobs, but they are extremely low paying. That's probably not a great idea unless you're getting transferred there, where you'll be getting paid decently well. If you would just show up and look for a job there, one, there aren't a lot of available jobs. Two, you better speak Russian and Ukrainian. In the public sector, you're supposed to speak Ukrainian for all business. So that's another interesting thing. And then along with that, the low pay probably isn't worth it. So what if you leave your hotel on your phone? Well, or your phone in your hotel? Yeah, I don't know if that's that's probably possible, but again, it would be difficult to get around without Uber and things like that. But uh, you know, it's something that just spend the $60, take your test, and be on your way, and then you won't have anyone hassling you on it. Um, uh, Another question: restaurants open, streets empty. Restaurants are open starting tomorrow. The streets empty. Not that I've seen, not that my fiance has said. They seem to be out and about when they had all the snowfall. She said the streets were full of kids sledding, and she said it looked like a busy time, and it didn't look like a pandemic was going on. But as far as are the streets empty, she said it is boring. It was boring on the weekends when very little is open. But that closing tonight, after tonight, I expect things to pick up. The small businesses, restaurants need the support, so it's something that will have to happen. Mark's question sounds like a lot of hassle to travel to Ukraine now. Maybe we'll wait till this blows over. Yeah, the issue you may run into is, will this blow over? Ukraine hasn't received a lot of vaccines yet, so they're going to be further down the line just because of their location. So if you're wanting to travel to Ukraine, it's easier to just go through the process. It's going to cost you an extra $100 for your test on your way there and your test on your way home. But it's something, as long as you plan for, you'll be able to navigate fine. Snow melted today. No more sledding. Oh, that's too bad. About jobs, I heard Ukrainian teachers make about $250 a month. Yeah. I was thinking about doing another live on how much actual people make and live over there. So you kind of get a sense of what occupations pay. It's very low. So, what their biggest expense is heating gas, especially here in the winter. So it's something that what you'll find is a lot of people still live with their parents because of the expense of all that, of getting a flat versus having to pay all the bills associated with that. What's another one? It's expensive to bring a vehicle. I'm sure it is. I wouldn't recommend it, even though the vehicle costs are higher over there. Meest is a company, MEEST, that does a lot of shipping to Ukraine, to Russia, to the old Eastern Europe. They are a Ukrainian company. If you were thinking about moving there and taking your vehicle, they would be most likely the cheapest option for doing that, or just sending anything there. Meest, MEEST. They have, at least here in the United States, they have pickup or drop-off points all throughout the United States where you can take your package and drop it off. You can send it by sea or by air. By air, it's very expensive. By sea, it will take a month to 2 months. Plus, right now, what's happening is there's a backup in all the ports because of COVID. So there's additional time, especially with sea right now. So if you are going to send something, it's better to have the expense in air and have it there in a couple weeks versus a couple months. Unless it doesn't matter. People still are awaiting Christmas presents, I know, because of this the lockdown, that kind of thing. So be aware of that if you're going to send anything. Let's see, what else do we have? What about Dream Singles? Is it a fake site? If it's a paper letter site, yes. If you're paying for something, you know, where you're not actually talking to the person, you don't know the person, you're not seeing the person, most likely it's a fake site. Most likely one person's operating 20 or 30 different profiles, and they're the ones writing you back. So make sure to stay off the pay per letter sites. Again, you're going to run into a lot more people that are scammers there than if you go with a reputable site. There are reputable agencies out there like Match Guaranty. You're going to spend a lot more money with those, but these PPL sites, nickel and dime you. By the time you're all done, you've spent a lot more money than you would if you would have went with a reputable agency. And there's not just Match out there, there's multiple reputable agencies. I just seem to think Match is the best because I met my fiance that way. I was unsuccessful with a different agency, so for me, that worked for me. Let's see. Let's see. Here's one. Can I live on comfortably? Yes, absolutely. You can live comfortably on 4,000 in several parts of the United States if you don't mind. Anyway, that's that answer. Is car registration easy to get? I don't know. You'd have to have the help of someone that lives there to help you do that. I do know with my fiance's situation, who owns a car, there's also a garage tax associated. So if you park it somewhere, you will be taxed as well when you park it. So there seems to be taxes for everything over there. So be aware of that. It's not as simple as renting a place. You have a garage, you store it in there. There's taxes to pretty much everything over there if you're moving over there. So please be aware of that. Okay, could I buy the home from the USA before going? I would not suggest that. There's a lot of scams going on. There's a lot of developers. The only person I would trust if I was going to do that would be someone like Joe, who does do some real estate over there, and he would help you out with that. A lot of developers, they end up showing the flat and selling the flat to 3 different people, and then they collect your money and are gone. So there's an issue with that as well. Here's one. What's the average price for a 3-bedroom apartment in Kiev? I would have no idea. Brian's $400 for a flat in Kiev. Let's see. Here's one. Is the Russian part of Ukraine still at war at this time along the border with Russia? Yes, it's going on. There's also Russia aggression in several other parts of Eastern Europe, where they're more or less doing the same thing, trying to encroach the border and extend their own border. So you probably don't, you won't want to travel to Donetsk or anywhere along that Dombra region, but Kiev is far away. A lot of the other places are far enough away you will not even realize that there's fighting going on, but unfortunately there's people dying every day still with that conflict. So it's a kind of a tough situation. What's can you put a down payment on a house and get a loan? You do not want to get a loan in Kiev. The interest rates through banks there are extremely high. Now, developers will, if you have an honest developer, they'll give you better rates, but you want to pay cash for anything in Ukraine, and you want to be there on site, see it, and make sure, have someone from Ukraine with you to make sure it's a legitimate deal, that they can read the paperwork, and ensure you're not getting ripped off. Again, I see someone said here the amount doubles if you're from somewhere else, or from the North America, and yes, that's true. Some places will really jack it to you. So another thing on interest rates, a lot of the interest rates in Ukraine are variable interest versus a set fee. So that's something, if you are going to invest in there or you are going to buy something there, understand for sure if it's a variable or a regular solid flat interest rate. So anyway, it all depends. You can read horror stories in Kiev Post about people having mortgaged their house and losing their business, and paying 30%, 27% interest, and not being able to afford their place and having something happen to them and getting foreclosed on. There's a lot of different things with that. So also I'll put this up. Anastasia, who is one of the ladies that does a street survey for us, usually about every week, she did the recent video on the death trap in Ukraine. So if you're subscribed, you'll be able to see that and be able to see what people actually think of debt in Ukraine. And a lot of that has to do with the high interest and that kind of thing. They really aren't used to that and do not like loans at all. Cash is king in Ukraine. That's how most business is done, especially large business. So check out Anastasia's video on the street survey, and she'll talk about the debt trap there. And that's, again, on our channel here at Match Guarantee. When will Joe be back? I hope he'll be back next week. Again, he's driving someone to the airport, so unfortunately he can't be with you. I'm sure he wishes he could. Anyway, that's he'll hopefully again be back. Let's see. Anyway, any other questions? Our hour is just about over. Questions about another agency. There, I'm not sure I want to answer those. Those are, I'll let Joe answer those. Anyway, they are somewhat reputable. They do a different method or ideology of how they introduce people. That's a lot different than Match, and we believe ours is much more successful in that. But that's kind of all I'll say with that. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on. Any other questions right before, as my hour is up, about Ukraine or the lockdown or COVID? Anyway, it looks like that is it. So if you have any questions, go ahead and you can ask the questions in the actual video afterwards, and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Again, we have live streams every Saturday and Sunday mornings. Saturdays by the beautiful Anna, and then Sundays with Joe. So anyway, that is all we have for today. So anyway, here are, as we end, I will end with what we normally end with.
Have you been searching for a beautiful wife? Do you dream of meeting the perfect woman, but haven't found her? Well, imagine if there was a simple way this could all change for you. Imagine if there was a Canadian marriage agency that would introduce you to as many beautiful women as it takes until you find the one. Ukraine, a lost world of beautiful traditional women. At last, a place where you can find the beautiful wife you have always dreamed of. Every Ukrainian woman dreams of having a happy family. Now you can have a traditional beautiful wife from Ukraine, creating happy family memories forever. So what are you waiting for? Register right now and Skype our beautiful ladies completely free. So what makes us different, you might ask? Why not ask Google simply by searching Match Guarantee Reviews?